I think recording has started now. No issue. So I'll just repeat again. Today the class is on derived lipids, and derived lipids are nothing but those lipids which originate from either simple lipid or the complex or compound lipids. Various types of compound lipids you will be studying. The first and the foremost, the simplest one is the ketone bodies, which you will be dealing in more detail while doing the carbohydrate chemistry. The second group is eicosanoids, which are derived from arachidonic acid, for which we'll have a separate lecture on the coming Thursday. The third group is sterols. Sterols are nothing but a group of compound which has a steroid nucleus. The basic example or the classical examples which comes under sterols are cholesterol, bile acids and bile salts, vitamin D, and steroid hormones. Okay, this we will be reading in detail today in today's lecture. You all know that fatty acids attached to alcohol can be hydrolyzed, and as a result, you get either glycerol or sphingosine. These are the two alcohol moieties which are the byproduct of hydrolysis of fatty acid content lipids which contain fatty acids. Okay, then you have various fatty acids also which we have dealt already in detail, and then you have a miscellaneous group of lipids which are nothing but terpenoids. So today in today's lecture we will be dealing more on sterols and this group which is the terpenoids, whereas eicosanoids and leukotrienes, which are other group of families, we will be dealing separately in separate lectures in the coming weeks. Now, the first group which we are going to discuss today is steroids. So basically, what is a steroid? Steroid is nothing but a group of family in which you have something like this structure. This is a steroid nucleus, you may say, basically originating from cholesterol, in which you have three 6-membered rings fused together and now one 5-member ring. So this nucleus is called as cyclopentenohydroperphenterine or sterone. This nucleus is the typical characteristic is known as cyclopentenohydrophenterine nucleus. This is made by fusion of three 6-membered rings, and the fourth penultimate, the last ring is of 5-member. So A, B, C, and D. Okay. They are in non-linear fashion. They are not straight line. They are. So basically, we will be studying three type. Importance is given to three groups. That is the cholesterol, which has a very important role in membrane, which you have already seen last time. And then it is the precursor of all steroid hormones. All steroid hormones are synthesized from cholesterol. Then you have a family of steroid hormones, maybe sex hormones or corticosteroids. And then you have the bile salts, which are important in digestion or fat emulsification. So basically cholesterol, this has a steroid nucleus, and besides this you have this. So cholesterol is a 27 carbon chain, and we all know that cholesterol is associated with disease when it comes to heart. Deposition of cholesterol in arteries leads to formation of plaque, and we all in last class when we discussed the lipoproteins, I described what is a good cholesterol and what is a bad cholesterol. I'll again repeat here. A good cholesterol is that which is removed from the peripheral tissue to the liver for its breakdown, which means elimination of cholesterol. It is LDL cholesterol is good. LDL cholesterol is bad because it goes to the peripheral tissue for deposition. Okay, so cholesterol has two major roles. As I said, it is important in membrane fluidity. So viscosity or fluidity of membrane, because cholesterol can form a wedge, and it will prevent the mobility of the the kink you see in the fatty acid. It forms a wedge which may have caught by that ability. So it hampers the fluidity and flexibility of a membrane. The second thing is it is the precursor of all steroid hormones. Now, cholesterol is synthesized in the body. De novo synthesis of cholesterol occurs. Okay, and if you see the cholesterol molecule, it is only the OH part which is the polar head. You will see in the photograph next coming. Whereas all the rest is hydrophobic. So this is the structure of cholesterol. You have A, B, C, and D rings, and only this much portion is the polar head. And that too, later on, we will see that a fatty acid is attached here to carry it off. And then you have an acyl chain on this side. So this is all hydrophobic, and only a small portion which is hydrophilic in nature by virtue of a polar head of OH. Now, what are the physiological role of cholesterol? So cholesterol is first related to the sterols and is present in the membrane of all eukaryotic cells. And as described earlier, it modulates the fluidity and permeability of the membrane. Then, the more the cholesterol present, the more the thickening of the plasma membrane occurs. And then, a uniqueness is the bacterial cells lack sterols. Mammals can obtain cholesterol from diet, and they can also synthesize it de novo, that is fresh synthesis in liver. We will see the mechanism later on. How from isoprene unit you have cholesterol biosynthesis happening. We'll only see first one step, rest you will see somewhere else. Now, cholesterol is bound to protein and is transported. We have already seen the lipoproteins, which are responsible to carry the cholesterol. It's LDL cholesterol, or HDL cholesterol, or IDL cholesterol, many types. Okay? And all steroid hormones are derived from cholesterol. So basically, what are the hormones which we are interested in or which occurs from cholesterol? The first is testosterone. Testosterone is the male predominant hormone. Here you should always remember that irrespective of sex, male also contains estradiol and female also contains testosterone. Because the physiological role of both are important, do not confuse that testosterone is predominantly or only present in male. Testosterone is a predominant male hormone, but it is also present in females. Whereas estradiol is the predominant female hormone, but it is also present in males. Okay, so testosterone is a predominant male sex hormone, and it is produced by testes. Whereas estradiol is a predominant female sex hormone. When it comes to females, it is produced by the ovaries and the placenta. So these are the two sex steroids. Besides this, from the adrenal glands, we have cortisol and aldosterone. So since they are produced from the cortex, they are called cortisol, adrenal cortex. The cortisol are glucocorticoids, you may say, in other words, which are responsible for maintaining the glucose or carbohydrate metabolism. They are glucocorticoids. And the corticosteroids, which are responsible to maintain minerals, they are called as mineralocorticoids. Aldosterone is a mineralocorticoid responsible for sodium and salt excretion. Besides these, we also have some synthetic steroids known as given by name prednisone and prednisolone. These are still synthetic steroids and have very good anti-inflammatory properties. Steroids are also present in plant system. A group of family present in Brassica, that is the mustard family. They were synthesized, they were isolated from that, and the term given is racinosteroids or racinolide. Okay, these are a series of compounds present in plants. racinosteroids or racinolide. They are nothing but plant-based steroids. Besides this, there are many other steroids which we are not dealing here. You might have heard about Ashgan, Shatavar. They all contain steroids, but we are not. That is not a part of our review here. More of agricultural biochemistry students study it, but they are a series of phytosteroids which have very good health implication on humans also. But here we are restricting only to the glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, and sex steroids in general. Okay. So what is the uniqueness of steroid hormones? See, steroid hormones are not stored in the body. When the impulse comes for need for production of steroid hormones, okay, the respective gland produces and secretes. Immediately it is released, it goes to the target organ, affects the nuclear machinery of that, and then produces the effect. So the mechanism of action of steroid is a bit prolonged. It will take time because the signal will come, the steroid hormone will be produced, it will be released, it will go to the target organ, it will affect the nuclear machinery of the target organ, produce the new protein, and then show the effect. Okay. So steroid hormones are fat soluble, they easily enter, but they are not water soluble. So if at all steroid hormone is to be transported, it has to be bound to a specific globulin or a specific protein to be carried to the target tissue. Okay. So cortisol is bound to globulin binding protein, and sex steroids binding globulin is also present. Okay. So these act as a carrier. Once secreted, it can enter the membrane very easily, but as I told you, it will be produced and secreted. And then if it is secreted, it has to be transported because they are ductless. Endocrine glands are ductless glands. So it will be transported in the blood. So to be transported in the blood will require a vehicle. And the vehicle is nothing but a protein. Okay. Now, the first sex hormone which we are discussing is testosterone. Okay, so nothing has happened but the side chain is cleaved of the cholesterol. So as the name indicates testosterone on, so there is a double bond here. Testosterone, sterone, because of this double bond. Okay. Now, as the name, this is estradiol. Diol means two all. This means two OH. It has two OH groups. Estradiol, as the name indicates, and this is the only group of family in which you have a benzene ring. Cholesterol never had a saturated first ring. Okay, whereas here you have all the three double bond. So estrone and estradiol, which means the female sex hormones have first ring as a benzene ring, whereas male sex hormones do not have a benzene ring. The first ring is not a benzene ring. Okay, estrogen is normally produced from testosterone. Okay, so on means aldehyde group or ketone aldehyde group here, double bond O, and ol means two OH group. Estradiol has two OH group, and testosterone has one double bond O. Okay, now so from estradiol, if it is to be from estrone, you see this alcohol group is converted to a ketone group. Okay, so now estradiol has become estrone. Then you have progesterone. Here also you have double bond O, double bond O. Own group is there. Progesterone. Besides this, what has happened? That you have a C double bond O, CS3 side chain attached here. So this is the basic difference between these major sex hormones. This is an artificial synthetic hormone, whereas these are natural hormones. So it is very easy to remember the structure. In testosterone, you have one double bond O. replaced by double bond this OH in estradiol. If this again becomes double bond O, it is estrone. In progesterone, you have a side chain attached here. So this is the way you have to cram and remember the structure of the sex steroids. The second group are the steroids produced from adrenal gland or adrenal cortex. So they are adrenocorticosteroid hormone. So a group of hormones which act on carbohydrate metabolism are called glucocorticosteroids. Okay, cortex से cortico, gluco से glucose. So they affect carbohydrate metabolism, but this group are very important in terms of their property of being anti-inflammatory. स्ट्रेस हार्मोन्स भी बोलते हैं इनको, मसल बिल्डिंग हार्मोन भी बोलते हैं इनको. ये क्या होते हैं, आपने देखा होगा कि हम जब बीमार होते हैं तो हमको स्टीरॉइड्स देते हैं. सो स्टीरॉइड्स किस कैटेगरी के दिए जाते हैं? कॉर्टिकोस्टीरॉइड्स. उसके डेरिवेटिव्स जो हैं, जो मैंने आपको बताया था दो नाम, या बहुत सारे दे आर गिवन फॉर एंटी इन्फ्लेमेटरी ड्रग्स. आपको बीमारी में दिया जाता है, आपके कोई सूजन हो जाती है तब दिया जाता है. ठीक है. सो besides maintaining carbohydrate metabolism, they have a very important role as anti-inflammatory agents. So this is your cortisol. Okay, this is your cortisone, and this is your artificial or synthetic corticosteroids. So here also you can say cortisol में क्या फर्क आया? यहाँ पे आपका अल्कोहल है और कॉर्टिसोल में यहाँ पे एल्डिहाइड है. ठीक है, डबल बॉन्ड O है या OH है. ठीक है. So that is the way, as the name indicates, there is the basic difference between cortisone and cortisol. Now, mineralocorticoids, as I said, are responsible to maintain the mineral balance. Mineral balance specifically in terms of sodium. वाटर एब्जॉर्प्शन में अगर आप फिजियोलॉजी पढ़ोगे, एंटी डायरेटिक हार्मोन, रोल ऑफ एल्डोस्टेरोन, रोल ऑफ these hormones in maintaining water balance is by reabsorption in the intestine from the kidney. Okay, so aldosterone influences the absorption of sodium and chloride in kidney tubules, and thereby, and in that way, it regulates the water retention in the kidney, in the body. So by virtue of sodium, potassium, sodium and chloride efflux and influx, it ultimately regulates the net water retained in the body. The body को जरूरत होती है, तो it helps in water reabsorption. But if the water is enough, it helps in letting it go. It is also controlled by, regulated by antidiuretic hormone ADH, which you will study in physiology. So aldosterone along with ADH, the twin effect, is net responsible for sodium excretion along with maintaining the total body fluid in the body. So this part has again come again, no doubt. I have already mentioned on this point that steroid hormones are made up of cholesterol, and they are basically lipophilic, so they can easily enter the cell. So as soon as they enter the cell, they are released. As soon as they are synthesized, they are released, and then they interact with the cytoplasm or the nuclear receptor of the recipient cell, and there alters the DNA or the protein synthesis machinery, and then slowly they produce the change. Because all these effects are not instantly required, it can take time. Okay, so the half-life or the time at which it circulates in the body is very long as compared to peptide. Peptide hormones are formed and immediately cleaved. Peptide hormones have a very short half-life, whereas these steroid hormones, since they will be synthesized, released, reach the target, go to the nucleus, show the effect, they have a long half-life, which means they remain alive or their half-life is longer. Now, as I mentioned that cortisols have, they are also called stress hormones. So I just thought of covering some physiological part just to tell you. We don't do it in detail, but these are the physiological responses you find if you take cortisol from outside or if the cortisol level increases. So they have a very permissive impact on glucagon. They help in memory, learning, and mood elevation. There is a physiological effect. They help in gluconeogenesis. They help in skeletal muscle breakdown. Then they have calcium balanced lipolysis. They are immunodepressant, and they have the circadian rhythm or your sleep cycle. So these are the physiological response of cortisols. Now coming to individual function of the hormones derived from cholesterol. The first is the progesterone. What progesterone does is nothing but it prepares the uterus for implantation of ovum. So progesterone role comes primarily in the implantation of the ovum in the uterus. Glucocorticoids or the cortisols, they are produced in the adrenal cortex. They are catabolic steroids, so that's why athletes use it. It promotes gluconeogenesis. It favors the breakdown of fat and protein for fat metabolism, and it has an anti-inflammatory property. Mineralocorticoid predominantly aldosterone produced by adrenal gland. It maintains the blood volume, as I said, by sodium reabsorption in kidney. So water uptake, water retention, and all are controlled from kidney. And the role predominantly played is mineralocorticoid, no doubt, in association with antidiuretic hormones, ADH. Androgens, the strongest one is the testosterone produced from the testes. Okay, the main important function of testosterone is to develop male secondary sexual characteristics and the sexual activity. Besides this, it prevents bone reabsorption. You all know that we have strong bones developed because of the androgenic effect of those testosterone. Similarly, estrogens are produced from the ovaries and to some extent from the corpus luteum, and adipose tissue also can produce some estrogen. The main role of estrogen is to develop the secondary sexual characteristics in females, and it prevents bone reabsorption. Now, you all know when we grow up, when we age, in male we have low androgens, in females we have low estrogens, and as a result, we all see that bones become fragile because of osteoporosis. That is because bones start getting reabsorbed. This is the phenomena of bone reabsorption occurs because the androgenic activity in males is reduced, and similarly the estrogenic activity in females is reduced after menopause or as the female ages, and as a result the bone resorption property is reduced, bones started getting resorbed, and you have osteoporosis or weak bones. Now, the next thing we are discussing is vitamin D. Though vitamin D is not a steroid hormone, but it is produced from cholesterol. The synthesis of vitamin D occurs in cholesterol pathway. That's why I am discussing here. Now, what is the role of vitamin D? It helps in intestinal calcium absorption. It promotes bone formation, and it prevents the phosphate loss from kidneys. Here also, if vitamin D is less, you all know rickets and all those bone deformation occurs because the basic bone formation of both bone formation activity is lowered in vitamin D deficiency. Now, why I have covered is because we are discussing steroid hormones derived from cholesterol. Vitamin D acts as a hormone, but it is of cholesterol origin. Though it is not a steroid hormone, it is of cholesterol origin. That's why I am discussing it here. And you should know it here only because we will be discussing all the fat soluble vitamins here only. Later on, we will be discussing vitamin A, D, E, and K also. The reason I will tell you later on. Now this is basically the way active hormone, vitamin D hormone, that is 125 dihydroxycholesterol. Though in diet we have this vitamin D2, vitamin D2 is produced from the breakdown of cholesterol. This is the point you have to understand. This product, what you call as 7-dehydrocholesterol, is the intermediate in cholesterol biosynthesis. If you see, remember the structure of cholesterol, we only had this one double bond. Okay. Now, what is the difference here? It is 7-dehydrocholesterol, which means there is one double bond extra more than cholesterol. And this is the provitamin. The cleavage at this 9 carbon leads to this opening of the structure. The 4-membered ring which you had seen here, if this bond breaks, you have 1, 2, and 3 rings only, 1, 2, and 3 rings only, and this is the hanging part of the second ring. The B ring is hanging here. So 7-dehydrocholesterol, which is provitamin D2, is an intermediate in cholesterol biosynthesis. So it is a pre-cholesterol. Okay, it can deviate by breakdown at carbon 9 to give vitamin D2. Provitamin D2 can give vitamin D2 if this bond breaks. If this bond breaks, this hangs down and you have vitamin D2. Okay, the dietary requirement of vitamin, okay, is fulfilled by this vitamin D2. What we get in diet is vitamin D2. So in true sense, vitamin D is not a vitamin because we do have a pathway to produce. But hota kya hai, the extent to which this conversion occurs is much less than the body requirement of net vitamin D, active form of the hormone. So that is why you need to supplement vitamin D from diet. Though we have the capability, so in the true sense, just as I said, it is not a steroid hormone, but since it is derived from cholesterol, I am taking in steroid. I am taking along with steroids. Similarly, it is not a true vitamin, but since the endogenous capability is less than the required amount, with no doubt with adequate sunlight we can get, but in adults or in conditions where the body is covered, we do not get the complete requirement of vitamin D fulfilled, and that's why we get to get the supplement from the diet, and that's why it is a vitamin. So vitamin D2. Now, once vitamin D2 is formed, this converts to the active hormone by a process of hydroxylation. Hydroxylation is nothing but addition of OH. So the first hydroxylation, that is the 25 hydroxylation, occurs in liver. You have one OH added at the carbon 25 of the vitamin D2, and the second hydroxylation, subsequent hydroxylation, occurs in the kidney, that is one hydroxylation, and as a result, then you have 125 dihydroxycholecalciferol, which is active hormone responsible for effect on calcium and phosphorus. Okay, because this has a specific receptors on intestine, bone, and kidney, where it can show the effect on calcium metabolism and phosphorus metabolism. Okay, I have tried to explain this in more detail in the next slide for you to understand. Sorry, I've gone too high. Yeah. So now you see that point again clearly here. This is the carbon number 9 where the cleavage has occurred. Okay. So as a result of cleavage of this has hanged. This has hanged. Okay. This is your carbon number 9. This is your carbon number 1. दिस वाज द कार्बन नंबर 1, दिस वाज द कार्बन नंबर 9. ओके, तो आपके यहाँ से ये हैंग हो गया है. ओके, और एज अ रिजल्ट 9 और 10 कार्बन ये रहा, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, 9वां कार्बन ये यहाँ है जो यहाँ था. So this breakdown has led to the formation of cholecalciferol or vitamin D from cholesterol. Okay, and now subsequently you have 25 hydroxylation occurring and 1 hydroxylation occurring respectively in liver and kidney, producing the active hormone. Clear? So no doubt 125 dihydroxycholesterol is also derived from cholesterol in lipid soluble, though you should remember that this is the diet pathway of the vitamin and this is the cholesterol pathway. Okay, so you cannot call it a real vitamin. Okay, but it is a true hormone. The properties of hormone 125 dihydroxycholesterol fulfills all the requirement to be labeled as a true hormone. So vitamin D acts as a hormone in regulating the uptake of calcium from the intestine and promoting synthesis of calcium binding protein in the mucosal cell. And the deficiency, as I told, in children, it causes rickets. But okay, in adults, you have bone resorption, osteoporosis, which occurs. Now, the second group which I said in the introductory part is the isoprenoids. Okay, as the name indicates, isoprenoids are nothing but a group of family which has this basic isoprene unit. This 5-carbon structure is a typical unit which is called as isoprene. The attachment of isoprene units in a specific sequence forms a group of family which is called as terpenes. Okay, so to describe or to show you more, this is basically your isoprene unit, a head and a tail, and attachment of two isoprene units makes a monoterpene. अगर एक 5 कार्बन का आइसोप्रीन यूनिट दूसरे 5 कार्बन के आइसोप्रीन से लग गया तो ये सबसे छोटा मोनोटर्पीन बन जाएगा. इसी तरह से वेरिंग अमाउंट में लगने से ये मोनोटर्पीन, सेस्टोटर्पीन, डाइटर्पीन, टेट्राटर्पीन ऐसे बढ़ता जाता है और अल्टीमेटली पिगमेंट्स जो हमारे होते हैं, जो कैरोटीनॉइड्स हैं, वो भी एक आइसोप्रीन यूनिट लेके बैठा होता है. विटामिन के अंदर भी आइसोप्रीन यूनिट होती है, and that's why they are all the fat soluble vitamins are also covered here today in my lecture, basically because the very presence of this isoprene unit in their structure, they are termed as miscellaneous fats, or because they are fat soluble also, they are, अगर आप जब fat extract करोगे तो they will also come in the component. आपके लिपिड फ्रैक्शन के अंदर फैट सॉल्युबल विटामिन्स भी आएंगे. तो बेसिकली इनको भी हम फैट्स के साथ ही डील करते हैं. वे भी विटामिन ए, विटामिन डी, विटामिन के और विटामिन ई. अपने विटामिन डी ऑलरेडी पढ़ लिया है. नाउ वी आर गोइंग टू स्टडी द रिमेनिंग vitamins, how they come in the miscellaneous group. Now this is what I was trying to tell you, that isoprene units जब लगती है सीक्वेंस में, इट कैन बी हेड टू हेड, हेड टू टेल, टेल टू टेल, एनीवे. ओके, तो जाके ये चेन बढ़ती रहती है और अलग अलग तरह के टर्पीन्स बनती रहती है. ओके, द प्रिकर्सर ऑफ C10, दिस इज सी, इनमें से 1 2 3 4 5 एंड 1 2 3 4 5, ये एक आइसोप्रीन यूनिट है और ये एक आइसोप्रीन यूनिट है. ये मोनोटर्पीन बना. ओके, अटैचमेंट कैसे आया? हेड टू टेल, हेड टू टेल अगर अटैचमेंट है तो ये C10 ये बन गया जेरेनाइल डाइफॉस्फेट। तो जितने भी C10 टर्पेनॉइड्स बनने हैं वो ये का प्रोडक्ट ये बनेगा। दो आइसोप्रोपेन यूनिट बने और पायरोफॉस्फेट है, इसके आगे इसके C10 के मोनोटर्पिन्स जितने भी बनने हैं सब यहाँ से मोनोटर्पिन्स बनेंगे। इसी तरह से अगर तीन अटैच हैं तो ये है C15 सब्स्टिट्यूट टर्पेनॉइड्स। इसमें क्या हो रहा है, फर्मेसाइल डाइफॉस्फेट बन रहा है, ये डाइफॉस्फेट है, तीन यूनिट है हेड टू टेल, ये भी हेड टू टेल अटैचमेंट है सारा, ये ना हेड टू टेल अटैचमेंट, ठीक है। और पायरोफॉस्फेट लास्ट में है। तो जितने भी 15 कार्बन टर्बीन्स बनने हैं उनका फैमिली कौन सी कहलाएगी, सेस्क्यू टर्बीन्स, ओके। और उसमें तीन आइसोप्रोपेन यूनिट्स लगी हुई है हेड टू टेल ओरिएंटेशन में। सिमिलरली डाइट मोनोटर्पिन में 10 है, डाइटर्पिन में 20 हो जाएंगे। डाइटर्पिन में 20 है तो मतलब 2 5 5 5 5 ऑल अटैच्ड इन अ सीक्वेंस। इसका डबल जेरेनाइल जेरेनाइल डाइफॉस्फेट, ओके। जेरेनाइल है एक जेरेनाइल और एक जेरेनाइल, जेरेनाइल जेरेनाइल डाइफॉस्फेट। सो दिस इज अल्टीमेटली C20। जितने भी टर्पेनॉइड्स हैं डाइटर्पिन्स का प्रिकर्सर क्या होगा, जेरेनाइल जेरेनाइल डाइफॉस्फेट। 30 है, when it comes to 30 it is two molecules of 15 attached but tail to tail, just reverse। ये इसलिए बता रहा हूं क्योंकि आपका कोलेस्ट्रॉल यहीं से बनता है। 13 में आपका क्या हुआ, जो ये 15 वाला मॉलिक्यूल था, ये मॉलिक्यूल जो है ये टेल टू टेल अटैच हुआ है, ये सब अभी तक हेड टू हेड अटैचमेंट है। और 30 में स्क्वालिन में क्या हुआ, इट इज टेल टू टेल अटैचमेंट, ओके। C15 फर्मेसाइल यूनिट जो है वो टेल टू टेल अटैच होने के बाद स्क्वालिन बनाएगा। और ये आप देखो ये आपका स्क्वालिन है। सो कोलेस्ट्रॉल इज ऑल्सो नथिंग बट अ डिराइव्ड प्रोडक्ट ऑफ अ टर्पेनॉइड। स्क्वालिन जो है टर्पिन है, उसका साइक्लाइजेशन हुआ और अल्टीमेटली कोलेस्ट्रॉल में 27 कार्बन है, ये 30 कार्बन है, एंड रिजल्ट इज कोलेस्ट्रॉल। बट कोलेस्ट्रॉल का बायोसिंथेसिस जब आप पढ़ोगे तो कहाँ से हुआ, टर्पेनॉइड से। कौन से टर्पेनॉइड से, स्क्वालिन विच इज कार्बन 30, ओके। दिस इज ट्राई टर्पेनॉइड, ठीक है। 10 10 10 के 3 टुकड़े मोनोटर्पिन। आपको क्या बताया, 10 कार्बन का मोनोटर्पिन होता है, डाइटर्पिन में 20 होंगे, ट्राइटर्पिन में 30 होंगे, टेट्राटर्पिन में 4 होंगे, 40 है ना। 10 20 30 40, 15 का बीच में इंटरमीडिएट आता है तो 15 15 का जोड़ के 30 बनता है। 10 10 के टूट के नहीं बनते, ये ध्यान रखना आपको, ठीक है ना, टू अंडरस्टैंड, ओके। 10 20 30 40 10 15 15 वाला जो मॉलिक्यूल है वो जुड़ के, दो 15 के मॉलिक्यूल जुड़ के आपका स्क्वालिन बनाता है। एंड देन this is the input point for cholesterol biosynthesis. That's why we can say cholesterol is also a family of terpenoids। but क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली जाके इसका एक स्टेरॉइड न्यूक्लियस बन गया, वो स्पेसिफिक खासियत है उसकी, इसलिए हम इसको टर्पेनॉइड में डिस्कस करके इसको हम स्टेरॉल फैमिली बना लेते हैं, अलग से इसको फैमिली बना ली है। क्योंकि जब साइक्लाइजेशन इतना हो गया कि अल्टीमेटली इसने एक स्टेरॉइड न्यूक्लियस बनाया है, वो एक यूनिक खासियत है उसकी, इसलिए इट इज नो मोर or it should not be taken as a terpenoid, but origin of cholesterol is from terpene, okay, ये समझाने के लिए। and this is your tetraterpene, okay, tail to tail, it is also tail to tail, 20 and 20 attached opposite from back side। now why I am coming to now next point is carotenoids। what are carotenoids? Carotenoids are nothing but also isoprene units। जितने भी पिगमेंट्स हैं वो भी कैरोटेनॉइड्स हैं। एंड द कैरोटेनॉइड ऑफ आवर इंपॉर्टेंस, ओके, विटामिन ए इज derived from a beta carotene, ओके। एंड दैट्स हाउ द फैट सॉल्युबल विटामिन्स आपने अभी तक जो पढ़े हैं उसमें आपका विटामिन ए भी आ जाएगा। सो दिस इज योर lycopene, and this is your beta carotene. बीच में से टूटने पर theoretically one beta carotene should give 2 molecules of vitamin A, but no biological activity is 100% efficient. So normally you may say, roughly say, based on system to system, 1 molecule of beta carotene can give anywhere between 1.6 to 1.8 vitamin A molecules. दो नहीं देते हैं. So when it comes to vitamin A, it can either be in form of alcohol, or it can be in the form of alcohol, aldehyde, or it can be in the form of acid. So the name accordingly is retinol or aldehyde group में, or retinoic acid when it is in acid form. Okay. How much time we have? We only 15 minutes on this one. So this is your beta carotene. Theoretically half this molecule is vitamin A, half this molecule is vitamin A. But as I told you, it is not 100%, it is 1.8 only or 1.6 only. So this is your vitamin A. When it is in terminal OH, it is retinol. When it is an aldehyde, it is retinol. And when it is an acid, it is retinoic acid. Okay. Here you have to remember this very important point. It is a retinol which is in visual cycle. And as you see, here all are in trans. All the double bonds are in trans. Whereas here at the carbon number 11, there is a cis configuration has occurred. ये बहुत असेंशियल है क्योंकि विजुअल साइकिल में सिस और ट्रांस चेंज होने पर ही ये रीजनरेट होगा. ये भी आपको मैं आगे बताऊंगा. Once vitamin A has passed through the cycle, it has to be reactivated. Then only it can come back into the cycle. Okay, sorry, this part I can omit right now. It's just to mention why I have included vitamin E and K also here, because of this presence of isoprene units. Okay, ये मैं कह चुका हूँ तुमको पहले. Now, just a minute, I wanted to show you the cycle and I'll come back again. Yeah, here, it's much ahead. आपका all cis retinol is the only active form of vitamin which will bind to the protein opsin, produce the active pigment rhodopsin, which is responsible for light sensitivity. Once the light forms, it carries a signal, produces a nerve impulse, broken down to opsin and transretinal. Understood? और जब ट्रांस से वापस सिस बनेगा तभी जाके ये आपको पता है, जब आप किसी रोशनी में देखते हो थोड़ी देर के लिए आपको दिखना बंद हो जाता है. क्यों? दैट इज कॉल्ड द ब्लीचिंग. आपका जो सारा रेटिनॉल था सिस फॉर्म का, यहाँ आके वो ब्लीच होके इस फॉर्म में आ गया है, जो जब तक वो रीजनरेट होकर वापस इस साइकिल में नहीं आएगा आपको कुछ क्षण तक दिखेगा नहीं. You got the point? So this is very essential that this, after the exposure to light, it is bleached, again converted to cis form, binds to protein, again rhodopsin is formed, and the cycle continues. So visual cycle mein the two structure which I told you before is very important. Okay, I think I can omit that. Okay, I can omit that. Now these are the physiological factors which I don't need to now because we are running short of time. So this you all can read ahead later on. Okay, these are the important physiological role of vitamin A, which you all know. Okay, so it is a visual cycle I already explained. Because and then the vitamin K. Vitamin K is important for blood clotting. Okay, so there are three forms of vitamin K. The first form is haloquinone, which is called as vitamin K1. Okay, which is a normal dietary source. The second is menaquinone, which is K2, which is synthesized in the intestinal bacteria. And the third, menadione, is an artificial or synthetic one. Okay, yeah, it is. So this is a vitamin K1, this is a vitamin K2, and this is a vitamin K3. This is artificial, and by virtue of removing this side chain, it has become water soluble. Sorry, I didn't realize it. Clear. Sorry, I was not sure of it. No. So this is a vitamin K1, where the side chain is of 20. This is 20 carbon chain, whereas in menaquine it is 30, whereas in water soluble menadione it is only K present. Now the important functions of vitamin K is in blood coagulation, in bone synthesis, and prevention of atherosclerosis. That is the plaque formation. These are the three physiological important role of vitamin K. Now the last and the important most is vitamin E. Vitamin E group of family are tocopherols और tocotriols. ये करीब 8 तरह के स्ट्रक्चर होते हैं. I'll explain in short of how to remember them very clearly. So this is the structure of vitamin E, the two types, tocopherol and tocotriol. The difference occurs by R1, R2, R3 substitution. R1, R2, R3 पे अलग-अलग जो substitution होगा, it will define it whether it is alpha, beta, gamma और delta configuration. अल्फा बीटा गामा डेटा नाम जो दिए गए हैं वो बेसिक इस पे R1, R2, R3 पे क्या चीज बैठी हुई है. Basic difference between tocopherol and tocotrienol is, as the name indicates, tocotrienol. You see there are 3 double bonds. Trienol. So tocopherol and tocotrienol में फर्क सिर्फ इतना है. In tocotrienol there are 3 double bonds over tocopherol. टोकोफिरॉल में अगर 3 डबल बॉन्ड लगे हुए हैं इन जगह पे तो ये टोकोट्राइइनॉल हो गया. और अल्फा बीटा गामा कांस्टेंट रहते हैं क्योंकि अल्फा बीटा गामा नेम इज गिवन बेस्ड ऑन R1, R2, R3. R1 क्या है, R2 क्या है, R3 क्या है, उसके बेसिस पर अल्फा बीटा गामा डेल्टा का नाम दिया जाता है. सो अल्फा बीटा गामा रिमेन्स कांस्टेंट फॉर वेदर इट इज टोकोफिरॉल और इट इज टोकोट्राइल, क्योंकि ये चेन फर्क क्या है, यहाँ फर्क नहीं आएगा. ठीक है. To cut short, to omit 2 slides. If R1, R2 and R3 is a methyl group, अगर R1, R2, R3 तीनों जगह मिथाइल ग्रुप है तो ये हो जाएगा अल्फा टोकोफेरॉल. और अगर ये टोकोट्रायोल में है तो ये हो जाएगा अल्फा टोकोट्रायोल. ओके. If R1 and R3 is a methyl group, whereas R2 is an H only, then it will become a beta tocopherol. और इसी तरह से ये हो जाएगा बीटा टोकोट्रायोल. If R1 is H and R2 and R3 is a methyl group, then it is a gamma tocopherol. Similarly, R1, R2 is H and R3 is a methyl group, then it will become a delta tocopherol. Okay. और यहाँ पे ये हो जाएगा delta tocotriol. Now this is important. This main important function of vitamin E is it is an antioxidant. Okay. So if you see structural function relationship, tocotriols are more potent than tocopherols, and delta is more potent than gamma, is more potent than alpha. So we are running short of time. I have bile acids still to cover. Now this you can see. Okay, here this is something I have. So tocotriols have been recently explored to have neuroprotective effect. They inhibit cholesterol biosynthesis and they reduce growth of breast cancer. ये अभी नई डेवलपमेंट, अभी रिसेंट स्टडीज चल रही है टोकोट्रायोल्स की पोटेंसी इन चीजों में. ठीक है. I don't know. Okay, this I can skip. Yes, this I can skip because I have to go for the next part. Now we come to the last part, that is the bile acid and bile salts. Okay. So the last important point is bile acid and bile salts. They are very important in fat absorption. So since we are running short of time, I'll just go to the last part. Yeah. So this is a cholesterol, and this is a bile acid. This is cholic acid. What it has done is nothing but added one more OH here. Okay, and this has become an acid. So this is cholic acid. Now, primary bile salts are either with 3 OH or 2 OH. If it is 3 OH addition, then it is cholic acid. 1 OH here, 1 OH here, and 1 OH here. No, I have explained the formation of micelle. So by virtue of this, it attains polarity. आपको कोलेस्ट्रॉल में खाली एक OH था, यहाँ 3 OH होने से क्या होगा? It will attain more polarity, and it will be able to form a micelle and transport the fat. Fat emulsification के लिए bile salts and bile acids are very important. Bile acids जो होती है, the major role is in fat emulsification. Okay? जो micelle formation आपको याद होगा तो सबसे पहले मैंने फैटी एसिड ट्रांसपोर्टर बताया था, जो सोप फॉर्मेशन टाइप का मैकेनिज्म है. इसी तरह से ये क्या करता है, बिकॉज ऑफ द polar head polarity increased, it will try to solubilize the fat. Okay, so cholesterol, cholic acid, and then quinodeoxycholic acid has 2 OH. Then the secondary bile acids are produced by gut bacteria. Okay, this is 2-deoxycholic acid and lithocholic acid. So these are bile salts. Bile acids can also be conjugated with glycine or taurine to give taurocolate or glycocolate. These are bile salts. I think. Okay, so this is there. Cholesterols in liver, it produces bile acids. There is cholic acid and quinodeoxycholic acid. Bile acid in the intestine, the secondary bile acids are produced. Deoxycholic and lithocholic acid. The main role, I said, is nothing but fat emulsification in intestine. Okay, the micelle formation in the small intestine occurs because of bile. अगर आपको पता है कि आपका bile secretion रुक जाता है because of stone, fat absorption is hampered. Gallbladder में जब gallbladder is nothing but a small organ which can store the bile and secrete when you eat. अगर आपके bile obstruction हो जाता है तो या तो jaundice हो जाती है और या फिर आपका fat absorption खत्म हो जाता है. क्यों? Because bile salts are the primary compounds responsible to emulsify fat, making it capable for acting lipase and coming into the body system. तो जब आपका gall bladder निकल जाता है because of bladder stone, you are asked not to eat pure fat. I was on the basic reason being, since your bile storing capability is lost, whatever bile is produced directly goes, every time it keeps on flowing. आप खाओगे नहीं खाओगे bile बनेगा जाएगा. तो एज ए रिजल्ट जब आप खाओगे, अगर फैट फ्री फैट खाओगे, वो एमएल्सिफाई नहीं होगा. एमएल्सिफाई नहीं होगा तो डाइजेस्ट नहीं होगा. डाइजेस्ट नहीं होगा तो आपको आफरा आएगा. यू विल फील अनकंफर्टेबल. ओके, सो दैट्स व्हाई दिस स्मॉल मॉलिक्यूल्स, दो अपेरेंटली वेरी सिंपल, हैव अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट रोल टू प्ले इन फैट डाइजेशन. आपका फैट डाइजेशन जो होता है वो बाइल सॉल्ट से ही होता है, और बाइल सॉल्ट अगर नहीं होंगे तो फैट का एमल्सिफिकेशन नहीं होगा. फैट का एमल्सिफिकेशन नहीं होगा तो लाइपेज एक्ट नहीं करेगा. लाइपेज एक्ट नहीं करेगा तो आपके एब्जॉर्प्शन में सब चीज़ हो जाएगी और फैट will remain undigested. Okay, so I think with that, no doubt in the end I had to hurry up because we only have 2 minutes left. I think it's clear. Hello, I think we can end now. You can respond. We have 2 minutes. Today I think the recording has been done, so no issue. I will be posting it again on my YouTube, so you can again revise it, because some slides I had to go fast because time limitation. So next Thursday again I have my class. That time I will be taking the eicosanoids, hydrochloric acid का जो भी product byproduct है. So okay, thank you. Yeah, PPT I'll send, no issue. But I will be uploading the entire recording on my YouTube. From there you can see. Okay. By tomorrow, if it is processed, I will be doing it. Okay. So I'm signing off because you have 2 minutes to go. Come for the next class.